Well, of course, for those affected, the tragedy went far beyond April the 15th. Alan Hansen was the club captain of Liverpool at the time of the Hillsborough game, and he now takes a look at the aftermath of Hillsborough.
At the end of that day, 94 Liverpool supporters were dead. As the grieving began, attention turned on the city, but the tragedies were certainly far from over.
I'm sure everyone was wondering, did they know anyone who was at the game? Unfortunately for myself and my family, we got the dreaded knock the next morning.
What about when we went to the hospital on the Monday?
Yeah.
When I'm in the corner crying my eyes out.
Yeah. Someone came out of the coma when Kenny was speaking to me, which was brilliant. We were all laughing and we went light-hearted for 5 minutes or so, and then the realisation came when we went upstairs to another ward, and one of the doctors said to me, "Can you just go and have a word in the young lads?" I won't say his name because it's not fair. The young lads here. I said, "Of course I will." So I went over and spoke in his ear and said, "When you come out of this sleep, we'll be waiting for you in the dressing room. We'll have some balls and shirts, and you can meet the lads, promise you." The doctor said, "Thanks very much." And I said to him, when will the young lad be okay? Well, he said, "No, we're cutting off the machine in this afternoon." And you could have cut me in half. Just, I couldn't believe it. And that was probably the final blow for me.
And then, of course, the next 4 or 5 days, we were like counsellors at Anfield. I remember one guy coming and said, 17, what age is that to take my son away at 17? Yeah. And then he was counselling me, and this is what was happening day after day.
I found that really tough. I'm not the best of talkers anyway, and when you're talking about people's families dying around them, it was hard to know what to say at times, and I think it was just a matter of being there for them.
Football is sometimes called a religion. It's not a religion. But in April 1989, it definitely felt like it was. A stadium became like a church, a place to grieve and remember. And at Liverpool Cathedral, a terrace anthem became a prayer and a promise.
We make sure somebody with Liverpool connections would be at every funeral. And I think the families really respected that. I mean, the boys weren't obtrusive in any way. They sat back and they let the family go on with the grieving. They were there because they wanted it.
The first one you go is arduous, and then one day I think we went to 3, morning, noon, and the afternoon. There was the 2 girls, extra girls, and there was the brothers from Natalie, and then there was a big coffin come past me, and looked behind, and there was a small coffin behind it. It was a dad and his lad, and it was unbelievable.
There was allegations against the Liverpool supporters that day. Allegations in certain media, which I can't mention the name of without putting swear words in front of it, but we all know who it is. So them cameras have saved the truth, because all the allegations about us being bad, believe me, imagine if one lad had done one little thing half wrong, it'd have been repeated, shown round the world, how typical it was of the day, and there's none of that. Watch the lads who nearly got killed, coming out and helping their own.
That was outrageous, some of the things they were saying. But it didn't divide them. It just brought them closer together.
There was a comment I heard of Liverpool, if the disaster had happened to any other community than Liverpool, you wouldn't hear no more about it, and it wasn't meant as a compliment. But it is, because we haven't forgot what happened, and so 20 years later we can still be here and we can still be telling it how it is.
In the subsequent inquiry into Hillsborough, Lord Justice Taylor concluded that the main reason for the disaster was a failure of police control, and not restricting access to the tunnel once gates had been opened was described as a blunder of the first magnitude.
It was so simple. They should have closed the tunnel.
And the easy thing to do is just to put the kick-off back in it. That's no problem for anybody.
There is no way they didn't know that that crowd was in distress. I'll never accept that.
The inquest into the deaths lasted 90 days. Victims' families hoped for a verdict of unlawful killing. Instead, accidental death was the outcome. No one has ever been successfully prosecuted for the Hillsborough deaths.
You know, and we all know this question's not been answered, man. And that's another hard part, you know, to fathom out, because if I was one of those parents, I wouldn't let it lie. I'd be fighting for the truth till the day I die.
In 1993, after 4 years in a persistent vegetative state, Tony Bland died. Treatment on other Hillsborough victims continues. "96 people died as a direct result of their injuries, but numerous other lives were damaged forever by the Hillsborough disaster."
It felt like I'd been smashed into 1,000 pieces. I just thought the whole world was a letdown, to be honest with you.
I say my prayers every night, and they're always there. I always pray for the people of that day.
I try to be as positive as possible, otherwise I just couldn't live.
Don't ever forget the suffering that went on them terraces.
Seeing his mum and his dad and his close family, you know, the reaction on their faces helped to drive me on.
Football died that day in a certain way.